Ok, merci. Et pardonnez-moi parce que ma voix c'est un peu cassée. Et alors j'espère que ma voix va résister toute la présentation. Et ça donne de la suspense. Ok. Prologue. Et puis je dois aussi changer de français à l'anglais. Claire Bishop assumes that the relevance of viewers in the dialogue with the artworks has started since 1960s, when the explosion of new technologies and the breakdown of medium-specific art provided myriad opportunities for physically engaging the viewer in a work of art. In the 90s, the proliferation of the participatory practice has created a new trajectory in the role of viewers, another step towards a less predictable aesthetics where the risk is part of the artwork. In fact, a series of unpredictable factors such as the attendance, response, and interaction of the viewer started to be included and accepted in the situation constructed by the artist. In so doing, the action has reversed the passivity of viewers into the participation of creating, empowering, and non-hierarchical social model. The situations created by Rilke Tivaranija, Thomas Hirschhorn, Jeremy Deller, just to mention a few artists from that decades, assumed the presence of the audience as essential to the actions. In the following years, museum and art spaces has accustomed us to interactive activities to engage visitors inside museum collaborations and artworks in collaboration with practitioners. Thus, participation and the physical presence has become an indivisible paradigm for the organization of participatory projects in the arts. What will happen to this practice in the actual pandemic scenario, where social interaction and physical gatherings are dangerous? Loneliness in the global connectivity. Since the first lockdown, we realized that the world would not return to the same habits. However, some sector was more affected than others. The creative industry, for example, and the participation of the audience in artistic events. One of the effects has been the introduction of a state of discontinuity for exhibition, concerts, conferences, etc., with the following considerations on the role of arts in the society and working on life conditions of practitioners. At the same time, it has brought to the disappearance of cultural activities with the following worsening of people's well-being. During the peak of the pandemic, another effect has been the repression of physical gatherings for working or leisure reasons, and the increasing use of digital devices, leading from three-dimensional to two-dimensional interactions. Dreams Time Capsule takes the form of a relational project staged through survey-based participatory events that has collected more than 2,000 recordings, 2,202 recordings of dreams and wishes in 12 cities around the world over the last 10 years. The audio archive uses the evocative power of sound and narration to investigate the fragility of the body over time, subjected to the changes and of our years. Aiming to create a database through different continents, the project focuses the relationship between the individual and the society, the private and the collective sphere, and addresses increasing states of anxiety and fragmentation in the contemporary global community. The first stage of the project was a series of events where visitors were invited to enter an inflatable structure, the Dream Time Capsule, placed in various art galleries and external spaces around the world. The structure created a sense of intimacy and solitude. Participants entered usually alone and were asked to recall and record on a microphone details or memories of dreams that they had experienced. The Capsule journey began in 2011 in Turin, Italy, and it has since physically engaged participants in many cities in Europe, Africa, Latin America, and Middle East. The project was also staged during the workshops organized in collaboration with educational departments, including the ArcDes, Swedish Museum of Architecture, which supported the extraction of the capsule in Stockholm, Kim Contemporary Space, the Museum of Castello di Rivoli, Townhouse Gallery in Cairo, Egypt, the Arivak Art Space in Manama, Bahrain, the Maraya Art Center in Sharjah, Sikar Fair, and the Yorkshire Sculpture Park in the United Kingdom. The Sikar Fair in Dubai, pardon. The structure used to accommodate the recordings is a linen and cotton cabin, and sewing, and inflated by 2 fans. It was designed in collaboration with the designer Michele Tavano and produced in Piedmont, with the financial support, as I said before, of the Swedish Museum of Architecture. The transport takes place via an aircraft old suitcase. During the event, donors are invited to enter the capsule. In fact, the project has traced personal and emotional reactions during the first. The other archive has become an open laboratory on the relevance of social and political changes into the personal and intimate sphere of citizens. In fact, the project has traced personal and emotional reactions during the first democratic vote in Egypt after the 30 years Mubarak dictatorship, and the Brexit vote in the United Kingdom, because it happened 2 weeks after the result of the vote. Being a process-based research of about 10 years, the project embodies a series of further considerations in a posteriori approach, intertwined with the more than 2,000 donors' expectation of their lives and social and economic changes in the society. In fact, like every time capsule, also Dreams Time Capsule project intersect with the dictatorship of time and following dynamics of events. Its events staged with an itinerant and incredible structure were created to reach people beyond geographical limits, and collecting email contact was aimed at challenging the forthcoming geographical and time distances with its participants. Although the life changes could interfere in the reaching the same person over the years, and the technological process could favor different tools of communication. The idea was offering the donors the opportunity of freezing their voices, their expectation towards the future, in order to reflect, let them reflect, or what is in between the 2 time spaces, between the recording and the listening. While entering the capsule, participants were informed that they would be contacted by email after years to receive their audio recording. The shifting modality was mainly justified by the digital nature of the file audio and the itinerant nature of the project, of course. However, I would never imagine that the second phase would have coincided with a pandemic crisis. The fact that we are living in a time where social distancing is mandatory makes the chosen protocol more actual than ever. Firstly, because the capsule is a private space where visitor is alone. Secondly, because surprisingly, this project started in presence but forecasting to continue through the digital filter of an email. So, the delivery. This is the capsule, the structure. Here you can see previous, I would say, participatory project, participatory events. There was in a Maraya Art Center, the Almajat, which is the sort of garden. On the left you can see the events in Bergamo, which is one of the most touched city by the pandemic, by the way. the first lockdown in particular. And on the top, on the right side, you can see the events, the capsule at the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and then below the capsule at Universidad Jorge Taleo in Bogota. Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and a dreamer in Egypt on the left, in Cairo. The delivery. The project now plans, as was always intended, to send back the dream recordings to the people who donated them. The delivery phase has always planned to begin in 2021, 10 years after the first collecting event in Turin, but I could not imagine, as I said before, that it was a pandemic. The idea was to offer and now I give you the idea of how I staged the delivery. I used to send an email to people recording, speaking about what was before the project, and the time has passed, where was before, and something like, you are receiving this email because you are a past participant of the event that happened years ago. I give you an example. For example, Dream 194.
Oh la la, it's very hard. Every minute I go, there is dreams. But I'm not live the words of dream, because anyways, I'm Ali. Okay, I want in the future do film in the front of this film. I want to cry the audience, to happy the audience, to dance, but I don't know. I wanna dance in the street. This is my dream. I hope so. I see a street very calm, and there is speakers, big speakers, and the music is Sufi music, Sufi kind of music, and I dance in Tahrir Square. But right now I see I am a killer of depression. Oof, a lot of dreams, come on. I think it's finished.
Okay. I sent this MP3 to Ali, and I replied, "Hello, dear Eva." I said that was recorded in 2012, and I sent it on April 2021, this year. And he replied that, "Wow, you made my day yesterday when I listened. When even with my bad English, that time now I am 33. I live in Switzerland now. Just a case. I don't know exactly what you want. Just tell me. I'm sorry, I don't remember that day. Also because the project in the email, I asked them to tell me if they remember the capsule, if they remember the fact that they participated to the project. So it's also a way to trace if artistic events they remain for people. And there's another one here.
I have a dream.
Maybe it's better to
I really hope that in 10 years Syria
put
will
the
be a free
audio a
place,
little bit.
the war will be over, and the dictatorship will be over. Okay, thanks.
I'll do it again.
I have a dream. I really hope that in 10 years Syria will be a free place, the war will be over, and the dictatorship will be over. Okay, thanks.
Okay, Yasmin is a Syrian and Palestinian director. I discovered later because I checked her email and name, and film director she's quite famous in UK. And but at the time she wasn't so famous. And in 2012 in Cairo, and just to say, I recorded during the days, so the energy in Cairo was very high. Everything was possible, and then the history, changed because they had a group of the EDHEA, and now there are many things that are not possible to say anymore, like being gay or this kind of things that they are in the dreams in Capsule archive. And but speaking about that, she gave me this reply you can see alone. And
I have a dream. I really
now we
hope that
started
in
to
10 years
to discuss later about the continuation of the project.
Okay, so recently I moved from Madrid to Stockholm, and in Madrid I had a cat. I was a foster mother of a cat, and I had to leave him behind. And recently in Stockholm I had this dream. I dreamt that I was going back to Madrid in a car with my boyfriend. We were travelling through Europe to Madrid to see if my cat was happy, because I had heard that my cat was adopted by a person who lived in the countryside outside of Madrid and was very happy with my cat. And we went back to visit to see my cat, and I was really excited. I thought it was really happy, and then we arrived to this person's house only to find that the person had disappeared, and that my cat had not been looked after and was kept in a small wooden box, kind of like a hut with a roof-shaped top, and he was inside, and luckily he was alive. But when I opened up the box to save him and take him out, I realised that his eyes had shrunk and shriveled up in his head, so he was blind, and he was on the point of death. I don't know what happened next, because then I woke up, but I like to believe that I managed to save him, and that's my dream. And I'm living in Stockholm, and I'm from England. Okay, thank you.
This dream was recorded in front of the Modern Museum and the Architecture Museum in Stockholm, and then she replied this year after 10 years, saying long email, the topic of my dream, the cat looked after temporary, it was very important to me, and I love cats, etc. etc. But the most important is just to give you an example of how people enjoy to listen back themselves, and it's also a way to make a sort of balance of their lives. So it's a sort of gift that we make them in order to send them back. And just the last one is very short.
I dream about you, I'm gonna meet you again. I dream and think about you all the time. When I die, I'm gonna be with you. With you whom I love. Like this wide open space. There is no time. It's just a feeling of purity. I'm gonna tell you more about you. I was more abstract, yes?
So with Kira, she's an artist based in Stockholm, and she started to speak about her husband, death, and then we started to have a sort of exchange by mail, and it was also interesting. I didn't say that before, but I started that during the second lockdown, and it was also very interesting for me to get in contact with people, and it was very emotional with having contact with people everywhere in the world, in Pasadena, in New York, Australia, and so it was good.
Okay.
It was very good. A good experience. But I also made a sort of report of people interactions, like for example, how many people read emails and did not read these emails. And for example, as part of, as I said before, speaking about Bishop and participatory project, it's part of the game to not have replies because it's a participatory project. So to miss something, it's part of their art project. But also I made a sort of analysis of people reaction. For example, people in Cairo, they do not use internet emails. They prefer to reply through Messenger. No, they never reply through emails. They reply, if I contact them through Messenger, they reply, oh yeah, I remember you. And yes, plenty. Can you send me the dream through Messenger? No, I cannot. And all this kind of stuff. So, and also sometimes they read emails, but they do not reply. I think it's because, I don't know, maybe they are shy or they're not used to have this kind of conversation, I don't know. In any case, I can't see the notification that they read email, but they do not reply. So in Stockholm, for example, a large part of people, they read it, some of them replied, and but there are many people who decide to not do that. In Colombia, they also contacted me after years. Hey, could you send me my dream, please? They were waiting for the dream so emotional, so intensely, and so they read them, they replied it, and but as you can see on the first chart, most of the email they do not keep the same email, or probably they swap emails, so they miss it. Okay, this is just a few considerations, no? How many people recorded a dream during the events, like 20 per day, there was a larger participation in Bogota, and then Sharjah, Wakefield is in the UK, and Dubai. So this is per day. So, of course, in Castello di Rivoli was for 2 months for a group show, so longer, but each day, less or more, there were. So it makes us also reflect on the presence of public inside the museums. So there were much more, I don't know, people in the University of Bogota or in the park of Jaja, rather than in a museum in the Castello di Rivoli, or yeah. Conclusion. Okay, the analysis provided is still in progress. We will continue with the delivery process of the recordings collected in United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Latvia, United Kingdom, and Italy. However, in Germany. This is the last one on August. However, this overview of the data collected are describing different reactions to the shifting modality from physical to digital interactions. It is to underline that even for both the phases in presence and in remote are engaging the same people and they were aware of these two modalities, there is a great discrepancy on people interactions between them. As we previously said, the delivery process gives information about both the use of and distrust towards the technology as a tool to maintain contacts. In those countries where participatory projects have a longer record and the audience is accustomed to being engaged in the public realm, like United Kingdom, Germany, Sweden, the feedback to delivery were lacking. There is a privileged role of the body language and human interaction that's still to be unique and necessary in participatory events. Because people are not just participants, but also the protagonists of the action. Thus, they must be motivated. The presence, the physical interaction still to be the primary way of creating this osmosis. The ever-changing exchange between the audience and the artwork. In general, the opportunity of listening their voices after a long distance of time is a sort of catharsis for the participants that enables them at grasping their past thought, desires, friendships, and so on. A similar state that lived during pandemic, which has obliged us to reconsider our habits and reflect on new ways of living. However, to reflect on the state we are living in the confrontation between the pre-pandemic and the post-pandemic life, and now how we are dealing with social distancing. Most of the replies evidences the trace that events left on the participants' memory, other than reaction in listening to the recording of the year, but there are also collateral considerations based on their age, gender, education, intertwined with what happened in between. And what relevance the dream assumed across their life experience. On the other hand, there is a privileged role of the body language, as I said before, in human interaction that's still unique. The present, the physical interaction still to be the primary way of creating a work of art in participatory art. So, the physical presence is still hard to be replaceable, and we cannot renounce to the participatory practices to empower people's awareness of being part of a community. Thanks.